And we're back with game number 3 of week 4. We got the man himself, the dirtiest dirtman versus toblazen. Sending them the all clear so we can get going.
Yeah, Dirtman showing off all of his tings, all of his prizes, a collector of art, as you can see, and a masterful builder of Gunpla. Let's see if any of that translates directly into Pokemon. Uh, I'm curious if he has any uh, Pokemon style cards similar to the one that he's showing now from the prized card game Super Sentai.
So
Sentai,
here's
Senpai Gotta Saving.
here's the kind of a typical stealth rock start from both players in Steelix and in Donphan.
Donovan, being a known rapid spinner, really doesn't mind trading off these rocks, but boom, going for an earthquake for a strong hit right off the rip, getting aggressive.
Yeah, he's getting aggressive here, but Steelix is one of Toblazen's physical walls, so took that earthquake pretty well for super effective.
A massive base defense.
And this is not going to take it well in that earthquake as you see it crush the Tyranitar. I don't know about that play because Donovan doesn't take damage from the sandstorm, so you're not getting a whole lot because he's also physical. And that
But
just
there's showing
kills
an
your
Aqua Tail.
Tyranitar. The Aqua Tail not doing anything, and he just loses Tyranitar right off the bat.
In comes the Slowking, looking like a much better matchup, although especially defensive naturally.
Yeah, the water Pokemon, especially a special Pokemon in the Scald, will be great there. And the burn will finish it off. Huge proc there on the Scald, 30% though, so that burn will take it down.
Oh, Dirtman not liking it, giving us a no, 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 but he's got his Nami card out, gives her a little peck. That's one of his primary waifus. Let's see if it's going to give him strength.
So Dominican Luigi here is interesting because Toblazen has some pretty decent counterplay with Sizor on the other side of the field. And a flamethrower by Toblazen going for the typing there. But I think with Slowking and Regenerator, you gotta pull your Slowking here. Let him heal. He goes for Protect, which is fine, but Sandstorm will deal some damage. But it goes away before it deals the damage, and he's able to heal back up a bit. I still think you pulled a Slowking. And finally back to the Sizor here. This is the matchup you wanted against the Dominican Luigi. And this isn't your Mega. So the the guy here is on a life orb, and that knockoff will get rid of the assault vest real quick on the Arcanine. I love this move by Toblazen, and he's got to get him out though, because Arcanine is faster and has Flare Blitz.
Yeah, I really don't mind him taking that first Giga Drain in order to get a flamethrower off and get a full value out of the regenerator. Slowking coming back in.
Perfect swap there by Toblazen. That's going to have Flare Blitz dealing damage to itself on the Arcanine, and Slowking took that pretty well, being a water type, and it's going to throw the Protect out to Scout again. Wild Charge is electric, so now Toblazen knows that the electric move is there. He can freely swap to the Steelix.
Yeah, I mean, even into that Dragonfly Pokemon that he's got sitting around there.
Or that. That's a great point. That is a ground, and he leaves it out, but it survives as a special wall. We see the slack off, and this interestingly will allow Toblazen to build back the momentum and maybe even press Scald here. And the close combat making very little sense there. He outpaced the damage of the charge. You knew he wasn't going to swap, so I don't know why you went with the close combat there when you knew the Slowking wasn't going anywhere.
Especially into that psychic typing. Dirtman just kind of panicking a little bit when he didn't get that kill.
Another scenario here that is not a good matchup. Dusclops is not good against Psychic Pokemon here. So we see a Nightshade, and that's going to be a damage outlook for him, but Toblazen will be able to attack back here and deal probably some pretty good damage. Now, the Slowking, we saw it use Flamethrower, and it's running Protect, so it's not going to have that Psychic coverage. The Dusclops with the Pain Split, allowing him to heal back up here, not going to be super powerful against Slowking, because Slowking can just slack off here, as you see, and it's kind of what I was mentioning, that this matchup is pretty good for toblazen. I don't think Dusclops is going to be able to do much to the Slowking.
Dusclops is fine against the Slowking, but it's just not gaining you any momentum. At least click some Nightshades and try and click some damage onto him.
Yeah, and he's
He's just
doing
pressed back
Protect
off and into
again.
Protect.
Yeah, just not really what you want to see there. We saw this on the last couple turns, so you want to try to use your knowledge to use some moves that allow you to put some pressure. And for you, your only pressuring move at this point is going to be that Nightshade.
Being down 2 Pokemon, though, it may be up to toblazen to break this lock.
Well, if you are toblazen, though, you're feeling pretty good about your situation. And Dirtman is the one that has 2 grass Pokemon on the other side of the battlefield. But we saw Flamethrower out of the Slowking. You do
And there's
have
the burn.
Venusaur with Thick Fat, and if it were me, I probably would have tried to swap him in on some of these slack-off turns.
Yeah, getting that Mega Evolution off is going to be big against this Slowbro.
There's a Protect, and he tries to Pain Split into it. I think we need to see Jamil, or Dirtman, try to get his Dusclops out of here. There's the slack-off. The Pain Split will swap the health again, but it's really just a PP situation here instead of actually trying to build a little momentum. Neither Pokemon trainer is willing to budge here, and I think that if you're Dirtman, you're already 2 down. You don't really have a great option here to stall, and so Blazin is kind of, I think, starting to realize that pressing slack off at every point isn't maybe the best move. And he presses it again, which allows Dusclops to heal back up. But a lot of times when someone's pain splitting, you really just got to just press attacking moves.
Yeah, that Pain Split's definitely going to be able to win the PP war if this keeps going.
That is very true. Pain split has a lot more PP than slack off, so.
But not if Dirtman just throws them away like that. You gotta press the button. You gotta push the pressure. There's a Nightshade, at least hitting the right button, but into a Protect.
So we'll check here real quick how many slack offs are left. There are 6 slack offs left on the side of Slowking. There will be many pain splits, 25 pain splits to be exact, on the side of Dusclops. So already the Slowking is running out of healing moves. And this could kill right here, but he uses the pain split luckily. It allows him to get it back instead of taking the damage off the burn. And one of the things is the Scizor on the other side of the battlefield, I think, might have had knockoff, and that Eviolite is doing some serious work here.
Most definitely. Dusclop is a wall that you want to pick apart a bit, a knockoff, a thief, a trick, anything to remove that Eviolite.
And this is big at 27% HP. I think with a Nightshade and the burn tick, it would kill the Slowking if toblazen doesn't press slack off here. He goes for the Protect, and there's into the Pain Split. Goes up to 33, down to 21. Both Pokemon are at 21%. There's the slack off. We'll see press Pain Split again. And this will just keep running out the HP of Slowking and forcing him to press slack off unless he decides to swap out. But he's leaving him in, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they were both very low there. Notably, I would have liked to have seen some forward momentum made out of that Slow King and go for the Scald. Try and get the Dusclops. If he pain splits you, you've got no health. Let the burn deal its thing.
And finally, toblazen swaps to the Flygon. Now, this Flygon is scarfed, and it has the ability to use Dragon Tail. I really hope it doesn't. I want to see something like Earthquake that could just put a little pressure onto Dirtman. That stab Earthquake with the Choice Scarf.
Dirtman going into his physical wall slow, bro.
And he presses Dragon Tail, which will pay off here. But he's now locked into the Dragon Tail. So we saw this last week where he locked himself into the Dragon Tail, which is a deprioritized move. Flygon is a weak Pokemon. It's just tough to be Dragon Tailing with a Pokemon like that, especially on a Choice Scarf. Doesn't really make much sense.
And again, we see both of these players going for their healing moves as a priority as opposed to trying to push momentum with damage.
Especially with Scizor, a Pokemon that can absolutely crush. There's the knockoff. Huge attack into the Slowbro because that gets rid of the Rocky Helm. But interesting that it has Life Orb. He'll be forced to use something, but this Scizor has a really odd build because it's running Acrobatics as a flying move, which is usually something that you might see. Um,
Off a berry build,
yeah, something
off
different.
the gemmed items for the previous generation that no longer exist.
Yeah, odd build there. Maybe he was expecting knockoff from Dominican Luigi, because that is a good matchup for him. And Acrobatics would clap back very hard on that Dominican Luigi.
And Dirtman pulling out one of his most powerful cards now, showing off his Bulma card. Let's see if he can get back into this after what decision he makes. I'd almost just throw out the Venusaur and get that Mega going.
Yeah, looking at the Pokemon that toblazen has left, I mean, he cannot kill this Venusaur.
Yeah, the Ampharos will be a good wall for it, but will it be able to push any forward momentum? That's going to depend on its move set mostly.
Yeah, this is, I think, going to be a very short rest of the match. This Venusaur is a house, and the fact that the slow, yeah, see that? Nothing. Thick fat coming in very powerful, even though it's grass. I
What
mean,
does
Yeah,
Thick Fat do?
thick fat
it,
will reduce damage from ice and fire moves by 50%. And Venusaur is already a pretty big wall, so you could see the non-stab flamethrower doing very little from the Slowking.
yeah, the Slowking really needing some psychic coverage to be able to cut into Venusaur's poison typing.
That's exactly right. You really need a psychic move to kill this Venusaur. I mean, I don't see a single psychic move on toblazen's entire team. So I don't really know how you can even fight this Venusaur. I don't think you can kill it. Like at all. The only thing that could really fight it is Tyranitar, and he's gone.
Does Jamil know that? Will he throw it?
No, I think Jamil knows how to use this Venusaur. I think the Dirt Man and the Dirt Cam and the Dirt House with the Venusaur is going to be fine. Slow King is just that, extremely slow, so we'll see the Venusaur outspeed here and be able to finish this off. Or even in a later turn, if he tries to swap it back in, it will die to the rocks. So not really a big deal there for Venusaur. And you see Dirtman just knowing the swap is coming. toblazen swapped out the Slow King, and if he had left it in and pressed the slack off, it would have survived actually. But now with the rocks out there, it will die when it comes back in.
Yeah, it appears that Dirtman has found his proper waifu trading cards in order to be able to close this match out. He's just a few Giga Drains away from it, really.
And the roar on the Steelix, I like it. It gets him out of that matchup, but he's still there.
Yes, the threat is very much still looming. And Dominican Luigi coming in here, unnamed, unshinied, looking disgusting. I hope it dies.
And there's a psychic stab from the Celebi. And I want to point out here, we see a more conventional Celebi. And this is not Dominican Luigi. I want to call that out. This is Celebi going with a more conventional special build instead of the physical build that he was running as Luigi with the band. So the Psychic finishing off the Mega Ampharos. And, you know, if you're toblazen, I think you had really good plays there. You have a few weird things in your builds, which you could clean up very easily. But I think your biggest problem was just the Tyranitar going down at the beginning was just backbreaking for your team. I mean, imagine if you had a sandstorm going on that Dusclops. Like, it would have just allowed you to have a little bit more pressure on the opposing Pokemon from Dirtman.
Yeah, Tyranitar's really got to be used as that pivot. He's got to come in, come out, and get his pressure when he can threaten someone else out and get a clean swap, get good chip.
And the Slowking able to take down the Dusclops with a well-timed Protect. That Venusaur is going to come right back out here and probably just finish off the Slowking real quick. I mean, even the Flygon is not a Pokemon that can really fight this Venusaur.
Yeah, I'm just proud this Slowking finally ended their rivalry. The Dusclops X Slowking. Let's get some art from the viewers.
Well, hold the phone. Hold the phone here. This Flygon has Fly. It goes for the Fly, and the Leech Seed misses. Now remember, this thing is scarfed. It protects, and perfectly executed by Dirtman. Having the Protect on the Venusaur allowed him, and here we go again. Dirtman will know exactly what to do here, but Flygon is scarfed. He can't press anything else. So this is an endless loop until toblazen either swaps the Pokemon or presses another button because he is scarfed. And Dirtman decides to swap, which allows Flygon probably to get a free fly and kill this Celebi.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what he was thinking there. But now he's going to be forced into the matchup that we want.
My worry, though, is let me hover over Venusaur. He has 13 Protects, and we have 21 Flies. This is going to be interesting here because he will run out of Protects before Fly runs out, and he will have one turn to deal damage to it. He's pressing the right move with Sludge Bomb, but wow. Oh, and he doesn't press the Protect. He chooses to let it hit, get the Leech Seed off, which is brilliant by Dirtman. He knew it would survive. Leech Seed will still hit while Flygon is up in the air. Unbelievable play by Dirtman. Oh, and there's the Seed healing the Venusaur while in the air. It will take this Fly with a Protect, and Dirtman successfully navigates the rest of the game, allowing him to get back to the Steelix as his last Pokemon, taking 4% from the rocks because they're not very effective, but this Venusaur is faster and will just be able to finish it off right here.
Yeah, Dirtman giving another kiss. Oh my god, the disrespect going for the Leech Seed when he should have just cleaned it up with the Giga Drain.
And that Leech Seed can miss. It's not 100% accuracy, so very risky there.
Dirtman has just gotten my video flagged.
What did you do?
What do you mean?
You'll have to watch the recording. This is why we double record all Dirtman videos. There's the clean fight that will not be flagged. Meanwhile, we are running the risk on mine.
And here we go. We're going to see Steelix and Donphan again. The same leads from both trainers. And last time, Dirtman pressed Earthquake, which looking back, probably was a good move because that chip damage on the Steelix was pretty important.
I'd almost like to see a knockoff out of the Donovan.
Oh, yeah, me too. That knockoff, especially on a Rocky Helm user, could be really important here for the long term.
Especially if he's planning on spinning those rocks away.
And This is one of those times where you're not planning on swapping out your Donphan yet. So what was the point of spinning there? I kind of wanted to see that knockoff.
The knockoff would have been great for momentum. It's risky doing it into the Steelix. You don't want to take the chip off of that. There goes the knockoff. Taking off the leftovers of Slowking. Scald into Donovan.
Yeah, and now you're just free to swap the Donovan out. You got your rocks, and he chooses to leave it in. Um, but there's no more leftovers on the side of Slowking. I think this is where you need to take your advantage and run away with it.
Oh, and there he realizes it. Knockoff
Slow off.
actually not killing there due to the item being removed, having the damage. Well, not giving it its double boost.
Yeah, and I don't know. And this is finally a pretty good swap for toblazen. Tyranitar's already pretty slow, so the Thunder Wave isn't going to be too bad, but it is a special wall, and it's great in the storm. So here comes the Arcanine, and the Tyranitar's paralyzed. So what I'd like to see is you swap the Tyranitar out for your physical wall and Steelix.
You got to bring that Slowking in because here comes a close combat.
Even that would not do an incredible amount of damage against the Steelix, but Slowking would work as well, yeah.
Dirtman finally showing off a Pokemon waifu.
He goes for the Slowking. No leftovers, remember. There's the close combat doing very little damage. And no stab there. The Slowking, not particularly a physical wall, but he leaves it in with the ability to scald. No burn, but the Sandstorm taking it down. And that is the power of the chip from Tyranitar. And that is a huge swing there because that Arcanine at 1% HP is still so dangerous with Flare Blitz.
Yeah, Dirtman not looking very happy on the Dirt Cam after that one. I gotta say, he gave his Nisa a little peck, put it in his love box, and I'll tell you what, I think he did it too early. That was one of his actual Pokemon waifus. He needed to utilize the power of that card longer, but he still got the Venusaur.
So we just saw a situation where Dirtman was trying to predict a swap and went for the Leech Seed, but he could have pressed Giga Drain and killed the Pokemon that was right in front of him. So I think a little bit of a misplay there by Dirtman.
Dirtman's definitely been playing it safe. Both players have been playing it safe with their healing moves, getting that Leech Seed off just for the the little ticks of healing. You see him in a
Drain
little
heals
scared
too,
because of
though,
Giga Drain.
so I guess against that Slowking at 17% HP with a Sandstorm out, I really wanted to see a Giga Drain there instead of a Leech Seed.
And that Tyranitar taking another paralysis hack.
So here comes the Steelix, and this is a physical wall you're sending out against a special Mon in Venusaur. So I'm just not sure how well this will do for you. You got a double swap, and he leaves it out, taking the Giga Drain. He wants to start the Roar shenanigans, and if you leave the Steelix out, a single Nightshade will kill it.
I mean, as we know, toblazen has been struggling with that Venusaur with his team's current setup. It seems like the Roar is the only chance he's got.
So another scenario where even though the swap came, a Nightshade would have killed the Pokemon that came out. Sometimes you just gotta press damaging moves when you have the momentum.
I do like toblazen's moves here, getting the knockoff on the Dusclops, also resetting that Sandstorm. He's really utilizing it in this game, really keeping it up. That chip damage is keeping him in this match right now.
One problem here is we're going to see an acrobatics coming out of Scizor, just really not good there. Kind of wanted to see more of a stab move there out of Scizor instead of a flying move, which is just normal protectiveness. It's going to die to the burn here because U-turn will not work into protect. Really nice play there by Dirtman. kind of backfired there for toblazen because your Sizor's acrobatics wasn't good enough to take down the Pokemon who didn't even have his Eviolite on. And the Flygon is scarfed, so I hope he presses Earthquake. And he presses the deprioritized move again, and this will allow Dusclops to press Pain Split pretty freely here because Flygon is scarfed into a deprioritized move. He is forced to go second, and Dirtman not really on top of the scarf there because he throws it back out, and the mistake there allows Flygon to get a free kill on the Dusclops.
And Dirtman throws his hands up. What's happening here? He doesn't understand.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario for sure, especially with a choice scarf on a move that is purposefully made to go second. And usually on Pokemon that you run moves like that, your Dragon Tail, your Roar, your Whirlwind, you want it to be fat or tanky to be able to take that first hit. And we saw the Ice Beam there, just 4 times effectiveness against the Flygon. And that's all she wrote there for your choice scarf. You notice if your Flygon there pressed an attacking move that wasn't deprioritized, you would have outsped. And in this reset, toblazen presses the electric move into the ground Pokemon, but Hidden Power Ice coming through very good there to take down the Donphan, but it's not going to do very much against the Venusaur. And Thunderbolt is also not very effective against the Venusaur. So 31% is more than I thought it would do, to say the least.
Definitely more with that low power attack and the thick fat.
But Ampharos has and there's
And
a crit.
hit.
Ampharos has a very high special attack stat, but it is so slow. So if we see another crit here, but the Leech Seed, I think that toblazen is, falling to these protects over and over. Once you're seeded, you got to get them out if you know a protect is coming.
Yeah, that 51% is going to get him outside of the range. 58 even further.
And now the Ampharos cannot safely swap back into the rocks, and it is pretty much dead in the water.
I do like the idea of resetting the sand with the Tyranitar. I just think it's too little too late. He needed to do that, like you said, to remove the seeds from the Ampharos.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to come back here. The Venusaur is just really strong. Some misses could do it, though. He presses Fire Punch, which the burn is a little bit nice there. Add a little more chip there with the Sandstorm. But he could freely swap the Venusaur out, get the Slowbro back in, and just, let the Tyranitar die to the Stealth Rock.
And notably, that Tyranitar will set the Sandstorm back up before it dies to the Stealth Rock. The burn and the Sandstorm dealing 18%, I believe it was. Potentially coupled with a crit, but again, that Ampharos is just too low on life right now to come into that Stealth Rock, and it will also take chip from the Sandstorm.
And a little bit of a Slowking battle here between Slowbro and Slowking. Scald's going back and forth, maybe hoping for a burn. Neither of these Pokemon really doing much damage as water isn't great, and neither one of them having any other attacking moves besides Scald and Flamethrower.
Yeah, I'd potentially like to see a paralysis out of this Slowbro. Do something to try and mess with the Slowking a bit if you're really set on leaving this match in.
So there's the paralysis. I like it. And this will allow you to hopefully take that momentum back. And here comes the Venusaur with the burn. A immediate swap to the Tyranitar, and it didn't kick off the Sandstream. So
They lied to us.
I have been proven false.
So it looks like that you have to retain position and it would be something like a burn that would proc at the end of turn.
All we need to see is a protect here. Oh, and the Venusaur gets a Giga Drain off, keeping itself alive in the burn. The paralysis on the Slowking.
Yeah, that was a big Giga Drain. Here comes the Steelix. It's going to take another Giga Drain and just die. Probably not your best bet there. And the Ampharos coming out will die too. Slowking will come back out and will live, but your Venusaur will have a chance here to press Giga Drain again because you're paralyzed. Oh,
And
but the
there's the
Protect is finally a great call there. But looking at the Pokemon left, you've got Slowbro and Celebi. The Celebi could actually threaten the Slowking a bit, and he sends it out. The paralysis as well could honestly end the match here pretty quickly. And the super effective Giga Drain out of the special sweeper from Celebi. And that will end the match. Dirtman takes it 2-0.